What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about some Detroit Lions news. This is the Lions' latest, even though it's not really the latest. It's some of this information you already may know, but it's okay. I'm going to talk about it in today's video, so I'll give you kind of my thoughts on things. So basically, Dan Campbell is getting prepared to be the Lions' next head coach Wednesday. It's supposed to be Wednesday. And also, we have some changes going on in the front office, and a bold plan could be coming. What could that be? Let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And we're back to talk about the Detroit Lions. First off, let me say shout out to everybody that was in the stream earlier that we did for Madden 21 for rebuilding the Detroit Lions. It was pretty fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun with it. We went through the first season. We ended up getting through the first season for our team. I'll just say that. And we're going to do 2021 or 2022? We'll do 2022 season as well. So we are going to do next season. We're going to do it until we win a Super Bowl, okay? Unless it takes like 7 years, then we're probably not. Because then at that point, it's going to be like, wait, who is this roster? So we're going to try to win a Super Bowl very soon. So if you guys want to check that out, don't know when we'll stream the next one, but maybe tomorrow. I don't know. It was super fun, though. So you guys should be there in the stream. So we have a lot of fun. Now, with the Detroit Lions news. Okay, so yes, Dan Campbell is preparing to be the Lions' next head coach as of Wednesday. So people then asking me if that's true. Yes, it is true. That's all the reports that we have right now. While it's not technically a done deal, it can't be a done deal yet because, well, they have to go through the paperwork and they have to agree that, hey, you're our next head coach. This is pretty much a mutual agreement right now that yes, he's going to be the next Lions head coach. That's just going to happen on Wednesday because right now he is currently meeting with the Saints players after their loss in the playoff game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's going to meet with the players. He's going to kind of do his, I don't know if you call it due diligence, but he's going to talk to the players, and things like that to wrap up the season that they had and, kind of the next chapter, which is going to be the Lions' next head coaching job. I think that's cool. I absolutely am cool with that, him meeting with all players. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good thing, kind of talk to everybody. The season's over. You got a lot of time. You don't need to rush to become the next Lions head coach. So I like that. I'll also say this. I was kind of sad, when Drew Brees lost because if he is going to retire, that's one of the all-time greats, man. It's I don't know. It just kind of stinks. Everybody retires at some point, but Drew Brees goes down as one of the best of all time. Not even a Saints fan. I kind of felt sad a little bit. So we'll see if he retires or not, but if he does, he's going to go down as one of the best. So shout out to Drew Brees for sure. Now, I was kind of happy at the same time, too, because, well, we get to hear the Dan Campbell news sooner, but also, I think the Bucs will beat the Packers, all right? I took the Bucs to beat the Packers earlier in the playoffs, but because of how things played out with the Rams beating Seattle, they didn't get to play each other, so it kind of threw off my whole prediction, all right? It did. It threw off my prediction, but I still do think the Buccaneers will beat the Packers. I'm just thinking it's going to happen in the NFC Championship game, and I'm cool with that. I got that feeling, man. I got the Bucs. I didn't think the Saints could do it, but I think the Bucs definitely can. So that is your Lions news. Dan Campbell is getting prepared to be the next Lions head coach as of Wednesday, and hopefully we get that announcement on Wednesday that we can start talking about coordinators, offensively, defensively. It'll feel good about Dan Campbell as our next head coach. Here's this post that I saw on Twitter. He's going to join these three coaches as the only coaches in the NFL to join in at the time without offensive coordinator experience, defensive coordinator experience, or head coaching experience, not including being an interim head coach. Obviously, he was the interim head coach. I think that experience helps him, but that's a pretty good group to join. Brian Flores, what he did with Miami, Joe Judge, what he did with Daniel Jones, and of course, John Harbaugh. He's a great coach with the Baltimore Ravens. So you look at those names, you're saying, okay, that's a pretty good, group to join in, right? This is a pretty good place to put your name. You guys know that I like that the Lions didn't go with the offense coordinator, defense coordinator just to fix one spot because, the defense back, go get defense coordinator. Or, the offense back, go get offense coordinator. Like, they got a guy with the coaching background, and I think the players are really going to like him. I'm just hoping they can hire the right DC and right OC. But, man, I do like that fact. And, hey, those are some good names. So if he could turn into those, if he could do what those guys have done, I think I'd rock with it. I think I'd be okay with it. Especially after what happened with our last coaching tenures. And the Lions can start going with their plan. But what plan is that? Well, it could be a bold plan. So let's talk about the front office. Now, I said there was going to be some changes. Not necessarily all these people are getting fired, but kind of the roles. So the Lions, basically their structure of the front office has changed now that Brad Holmes has joined Detroit. He's kind of brought the Rams way, I guess you could say, with him, right? We were kind of doing the Patriot way type of thing. Now with the Rams, he's kind of bringing the Rams way, at least to the front office. Now the difference is Dan Campbell wasn't the Rams coach. He was working with the Saints. He wasn't with the Rams in his past. So they're not both tied to that. But they are bringing sort of a Rams sort of feel to the front office side of things, just by the roles and responsibility of each person. So basically what they're doing is they're setting up just like the Rams do, the responsibilities for the vice president, GM, and for their COO. So when you take a look at the Saints, basically their vice president is Tony Pastrus. I think that's how you say his name. that role is going to be taken on by Mike Disner for the Detroit Lions. Now, Disner for us is a guy that handled, salary caps and negotiations, but now he's also going to take on the role of handling nutrition, training, that kind of thing, right? Those kind of things, the football operations, right? He's also going to have control of that instead of it being the general manager position. What that will allow Brad Holmes to do is just focus on what he's good at, what he is known for. That is evaluating talent and scouting, all right? He was a college scouting director, okay? So that's what he's going to focus on with the Detroit Lions. A little feel-good story about Brad Holmes. I'm going to throw this chart on the screen right here. So this is draft return versus draft capital. So it basically takes into consideration how much draft capital you had in that year's draft and then the return you got based on those players' performance, so how they have performed in the NFL. Not based on combine, based on game by game, how they have performed in the NFL since then. So a lot of charts go into this, a lot goes behind it. This is by Football Outsiders if you guys want more detail into this, but I'll just keep it pretty simple right now. So basically, you see it 100% on here. That means average. So above 100% obviously is above average, below 100% is below average based on the capital that you had. So how efficient were you with your draft picks based on the capital you have? Now with the Rams, you'll see on here is that the Rams, obviously they haven't had a lot of first round picks. The last 4 years haven't had a single first round pick, but what is worth noting is the last 5 years. So the first thing to take a look at is the last 5 years for Rams. They're kind of at the bottom. The last 5 years. Now, Brad Holmes took over as the director of college scouting in 2013. So the last 5 years, it being at 114% means that they've been above average, pretty far above average in drafting efficiency in the last 5 seasons with the Rams. We know they've been a playoff team 3 of the last 4 years. Also, what's important is, again, Brad Holmes was the director of college scouting during that time, and that comes in sixth in the last 5 years of any team in the NFL. Behind only teams, I believe behind only, Dallas, Kansas City, Minnesota, Indianapolis, and Buffalo. Pretty darn good teams. Usually most of those teams are playoff teams, right? So obviously, they've had some success drafting. Now, there is a side of it where you have to draft well, but also train the players well, because you look at a team like Seattle, maybe they don't have the best all the time, but they do such a good job developing the players that it makes it look good. Same thing with the Patriots. They develop really well. Obviously, the Patriots, Seattle at top, though, you can see 10 years, 135%. It's been the best in the NFL. You got to compare that to Detroit. So if you look up just a little bit, you'll see Detroit in the last 5 years. And Detroit comes in here. Let me pull it out. Detroit comes in at 97%. So a little bit below average in the last 5 seasons. One of the good drafts you'll see comes in 2016. Obviously, that year they landed Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow, 2 starters. That was a really good draft for them. But you'll see, for the Rams, right, you'll see more efficiency there. So just a little feel good when it comes to what he's able to do as a scout and how much more success that they've had since he's taken over. So it's kind of confusing, but that's how it's based. It's based on the player's performance week by week. And then it's based on, how much draft picks, how much draft capital you have and what you were able to get in return. The draft capital is based on a chart. Can't remember what the chart is called. There's a chart that they use to, basically number the value of each draft pick that you have. So a lot that goes into it, a lot behind the scenes, but the percentages, if you just look at that simply, last 5 years have been pretty good. So they found some efficiency with Brad Holmes. You can see the improvement from before he took over, 67, 70, 87, director of scouting, 86, 94, 125, 71, 148, 103, 131. You can see a big improvement there. I think it's also important to see that you'll notice with Bob Quinn's pick, there's actually been some efficiency there. The regime just really didn't work out that well at all, up really until 2019 when it was not a very good draft, at least so far to this point. 2017, maybe like, well, why is that one so high? Well, 2017 is the year, if you can remember, 2017, we brought in, Tease Tabor, Jared Davis, but we also brought in Kenny Galladay in that draft. We also brought in Jamal Agnew in that draft, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. So there was also some starters there. So they found some efficient picks later in the draft, which I think really helps that one out. But he came in 2016 until recently with him, and that was 2019. But I think it's the regime just didn't work out. I think Bob Quinn was ever terrible at drafting. Yeah, he could have been better. But really, we're focused on the Rams here, and obviously Brad Holmes helped the Rams out a lot. Now, I guess there's this report that out of the interview that they had with Brad Holmes, he basically brought up a bold plan that he would make with the roster if he was hired. Now, we don't know what that bold plan is. Of course, they wouldn't tell us that. But apparently, he told the Lions about some sort of bold plan that if he got hired, that he would try to make happen. So what could that bold plan be, right? That's the big question. Well, basically, Brad Holmes is in charge of scouting and also the roster right now. So they're taking some responsibilities off him, letting Mike Disner do a little bit more and, making it probably a little bit easier for a first-time general manager. with Brad Holmes, whatever that plan may be. Now, what could the big plan be? Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I have no idea what the big plan could be. He just said this. I should say bold plan. It's called a bold plan. He said this. He gave a cutting and honest assessment of the roster and a bold plan if he got the job. So I don't know exactly what that bold plan is. I think the first thing that comes to your mind is, okay, wait, does that mean Matthew Stafford? I mean, that would be bold, right? Does that mean Matthew Stafford? It could. It could be Matthew. I don't really know. I mean, I know they're a younger GM, younger head coach, so it could be Matthew. I'm not going to say it will because I don't know what it means. Hey, if he plays like he did on our Madden franchise, then it probably is Matthew. But no, seriously, I don't know what it means. Now, I know the Deshaun Watson thing. People always ask me, hey, should we trade for Deshaun? Look, I'll say this with the Deshaun thing. And as I haven't completely figured out the numbers behind it, as I'm trying to, if I had to trade Stafford, you were like, hey, you got to trade Stafford. What are you going to do? Who are you going to trade him to? What are you going to trade him? If I had to trade Stafford, first off, I don't think he'd want to go to Houston. Let's make that first. Let's make that clear, okay? I don't think he'd want to do that. But obviously, yeah, Deshaun Watson would be the type of player I'd want to return. I just think it may be very difficult to make Stafford go to Houston. He'd be like, nope, I ain't doing it. Nope. I'm just saying, I'll hold out. Like, I mean, Matthew's not that kind of guy, but it's kind of messed up. I mean, to put him in Houston if he doesn't want to be there, I feel like that's messed up after what he's done for us. So I don't think that would be the case. But in Deshaun Watson's situation, again, I'm not saying I want this to happen. Obviously, if they trade Stafford, I'd be upset. Obviously, I'd be sad. But for the Deshaun Watson trade, for everybody asking me, so here's what I basically learned, all right? So first off, there's never been a trade like this in the modern NFL era. There's never been a trade where you have a quarterback this young, this talented, that's putting up numbers that he is, that's going to get traded, that could get traded. Now, he hasn't waived his no-trade clause. So he technically hasn't requested a trade yet from Houston. But if he does, no team has made this big blockbuster trade before at Watson's age. No team has ever done this. This would be the biggest trade, I guess, that we've seen. So the amount of draft capital you would have to assume you would have to give up is ridiculous. I mean, I saw like a draft where basically a team gave up like 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and like a third. I mean, it was ridiculous. That could be the asking price. Now, the difference is the Texans don't have that much leverage because if he wants out, you really can't keep him there. But I'm sure they're going to ask for a pretty big return, all right, if they're going to trade away Deshaun Watson. So we'd see how big that is. I kind of feel like he won't be traded, but then again, you never know. I mean, again, if a guy doesn't want to be there, it's really tough to keep him around. Now, the issue with Deshaun Watson, yeah, that's a lot to give up. And with the Lions situation with the 7th pick, it's a lot for the Lions only having 5 picks this year of draft compensation. But the other issue is the contract. Now, for the contract, 2021 wouldn't be a big problem for I'm talking for any team. For any team taking on Deshaun, 2021's contract would not be an issue. It'd be 2022. So basically for 2021, if my information is correct, it'd be over $10 million, okay? Because he just signed that big extension. It'd just be over $10 million that you would take that cap hit for 2021. If the Lions, which again, I don't want this to happen. I love Matthew Stafford. You all know that. Come on, man. You guys know me. I don't want this to happen. But I do want to bring it up because people ask. If you trade away Matthew Stafford, it would be, I think, $19 million you would take as a cap hit. So you put those together, it's about $30 million, which is about as much as you're going to pay a franchise quarterback. Okay, that's understandable. But here's the issue I'm saying is 2022. Now, Matthew Stafford technically has 3 years left on his deal, but the third one, kind of like what, maybe not. So 2022, from what I've gathered, would be the issue. Now, that's, I guess, better because 2021, we know there's cap issues. That's going to be a lot lower than usual, so that could be a problem. But 2022, basically, Deshaun Watson, his contract goes up to like $35 million in a cap hit. $35 million. You're talking paying him a ridiculous amount of money, like the second highest paid quarterback in the league, plus the penalty from trading away Matthew Stafford. So you're talking about having a lot of money lost, giving up tons of draft compensation. And the reason that, again, like I said, if I could have any quarterback and I had to trade Stafford, I would take Watson. But the issue is, I don't know what Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, I want to be optimistic and believe that they can. But the issue is, I know that what I've seen with Stafford's Lions have not been able to build a running game or a defense. Either one. So with that in mind, even if you had Deshaun Watson, you're going to be in the same boat that Houston's in or that we were in this season. Houston won 4 games last year. Deshaun Watson was incredible, but they only won 4 games because their team's terrible. It's literally the same situation that's going on in Detroit. We won 5 games. Stafford's really good. The team is terrible. It'd be the same situation. So you're still back to the square of, okay, well, hold up. We got to figure out how to build a defense and an offense. And for 2022, he'd be taking on over 18% of the team's salary cap. I think it's the second highest paid quarterback in 2022. So I guess for those people that tell me that Stafford's contract is the issue, try taking on that contract. So that's the thing that I'm still trying to do. I know the rebuild makes sense. I'm all for drafting a quarterback. I get that. I'm all for drafting quarterback and see if you get one because I know that drafting quarterback does not guarantee it'll work out. So I'm all for drafting one, see if you can find one for the future. I'm all about for the future. I get it. I 100% get it. But at the same time, I also know that if you can't build a running game and or a defense, it won't matter. You're still going to be really bad. And that's what the Texans see, and that's what we've seen for a very long time. You have to be able to do those things. So until Lions can show me that they can do that, it wouldn't really change anything to me. I mean, yeah, you got a great quarterback, just like you had a great quarterback. And what? You lost draft picks, so now you have less to work with? Yeah, you got a younger quarterback, but you have less to work with. You have less to work with, you have a younger quarterback, but you still got to prove to me you can build an offense and defense. You still got to prove to me you can build around him. And that's what I'm hoping Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes can do. And I think that'll be a lot easier if they give him potentially more time to do it. Because if we fire these guys after 3 to 4 years, that's same old Lions, that's doing the same thing, then we're stuck in the same boat again. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, hoping things work out. Now, one thing that I would say to that is that if they did trade away Matthew, which again, I don't want to happen. I have to say it because people think I want him traded. No, I don't want Matthew traded. Come on, you guys know me better than that. Obviously, I don't want him traded. But if you traded Stafford and you brought in a different quarterback, it could potentially buy them more time. Maybe it could buy them more time, or it could potentially take time away, like where they're, under more pressure. I'm not sure. I think if you drafted a top quarterback, that could buy you more time. Trading for Watson, maybe it won't buy you more time. I'm not sure. Maybe with draft compensation, people will be like, well, he's got more time. They don't have many draft picks. Either way, the thing for Watson is very difficult. And I actually was watching the 49ers one because they were talking about doing it. The 49ers like, no, don't do this. We can't trade for. We have too many holes to fill. Taking too much compensation takes too much money. One of the 49ers guys' ideas was, hey, what if we traded him and brought him in for 1 year when his contract is cheap, gave away a lot of pieces to bring him in, and then right after this season, we make the Super Bowl push and we trade him away. Obviously, it's very difficult to do that. We're not in that situation because, maybe we can make a Super Bowl push, but I don't think we'd make a Super Bowl push if we lost on that. If we're going to make a Super Bowl push, we would have to have a lot of moves be able to be made in the offseason. And if you bring in Watson, it takes away a lot from what you could do. So you're kind of in that mode for 2021 where you're kind of just chilling with a bad team. And then 2022, when you're really starting to try to, turn it around, when you have capital again, maybe you have capital that year, then you're paying a lot of money towards his contract. So for me, I wouldn't do it personally, but again, he's an incredible quarterback. He's going to get offers. Some team is going to look for him. And if he does become available, if he does request a trade, he probably will get moved because he can't keep a guy that doesn't want to be there, and teams are going to be all over it. Lions might call about it. Again, it's not something I want to do. I think it's just it's going to be a lot of hassle, and the Lions haven't shown me they can build anything anyway. So, look, Stafford can win games. Like, you just got to be able to build a team. And if you can't build a team, then it doesn't matter. You can bring in anybody you want to bring in. Think of any quarterback you want to bring in. You're not going to win if you can't do anything. Look at the Chiefs, for example. They can play D. They can run the ball. They won with Chad Henne was in there. They put the game away with Chad Henne. It's not just that Patrick Mahomes is the best, so great that it literally doesn't matter what you do around him. They have a good enough team, a good enough structure, consistency at the head coaching and GM position that we have not had. So that's the thing. To me, Deshaun Watson won't fix the issue. It might just make people feel happy for a little bit, and then hopefully we can fix it because maybe for the future it's great. But I'd honestly be rather just draft a quarterback, put him behind Stafford. If you want to take a first round, fine, do it. If you find a guy you love, take him first round. That's fine. I have whatever. If you like the guy there and you think he's legitimately the future, you could draft him there. But until you can prove to me you can build a team, it won't change my mindset on anything. It's still a bad team. I honestly think Jonathan Stewart, the former really good running back, Pro Bowl running back, he said this about Matthew Stafford. I think he rated it right on the head. He tweeted this. Remember when the Detroit Lions wasted 3 years of Matthew Stafford's career by hiring Matt Patricia? That's what it is right now. They're basically wasting him right now. He has the numbers. They are wasting him when it comes to wins and losses. So that would be the same thing. We'd be like, oh, wow, we're wasting Deshaun Watson. If Watson was in the same situation, we'd say we're wasting Watson. It's just unfortunate it's Stafford in that spot right now. So, I think he summed it up pretty perfectly. And I'm hoping that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes can get this thing figured out. And I actually am really confident with that. I like these hirings. I really do like this pairing. I'm serious. I like this. I really do I think this is going to work. I think players are going to like to play for these guys. I think this could work, okay? I really do. I think they're going to be motivated at the very least. You got to prove to me you can build a team because you've never done that. In conclusion, no, I would not trade for Deshaun Watson. Unless Stafford came to me and said, no, I do not want to be here next year, which I don't believe he's going to do because I think he does like it here, then no, I would not make this trade. I would prefer just drafting a quarterback, using the capital you have to try to build a team, continue to try to build a team in Detroit. You draft quarterbacks for the future, get prepared for that. But I wouldn't be mortgaging all this stuff to just jump on a quarterback when your team is complete garbage. And then it's okay, we got the quarterback, great. Now we can't do anything. We still can't do anything. We're still a terrible team. And we have this quarterback, but we have no capital now, right? And you haven't proven to me that you're going to keep a head coach and a GM. So you got to show me that first. So that's just kind of my thoughts. What will the bold plan be? I don't know what the bold plan is. I really don't. What could be a bold plan? I'm not sure. Maybe keeping it similar. That would be pretty bold. To not make as many changes as people would expect. That could be something. Maybe bold is revamping the defense somehow. I really have no clue. You guys have any thoughts on what that is? Let me know in the comment section below. But that is your Lions news. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.